Why do people do terrible things? I mean, it's a question that has haunted philosophers, theologians, and, well, all of us for centuries. Is evil just a mistake, a corruption of something good? Or is it something else entirely, a real active force in the world? Okay, let's dive into this really fundamental puzzle.
So, let's start with a really powerful and honestly optimistic idea from the philosopher Immanuel Kant. He argued way back about 300 years ago that every normal, healthy human being has what he called a good will. The idea is that at our core, we actually want to do what is right. It's kind of like our default setting.
And that, of course, brings up the massive, unavoidable question, right? If we're all fundamentally wired for good, why is the world so full of actions that are undeniably evil? This is the central conflict, the problem that thinkers have wrestled with forever, and it leads to two very, very different explanations.
Okay, so the first major theory suggests that evil isn't its own thing. Instead, it's a perversion of our desire to do good. It's goodness that's been twisted or misdirected or corrupted, all because of a critical flaw in our thinking.
Kant's answer to this whole puzzle is that we get waylaid. Our reason, the very tool we're supposed to use to figure out what's good, it gets hijacked. We manage to convince ourselves that a harmful act is actually necessary, or maybe even noble. People genuinely think they're doing good, when in reality, they're causing so much harm.
And what's so interesting is how this centuries-old idea is totally echoed by modern thinkers. The Oxford legal scholar Ryan Meeks puts it just perfectly. Evil doesn't show up with horns and a pitchfork. It doesn't announce, "Hey, I'm evil." No way. It has to disguise itself. It absolutely has to pretend to be something good to get us on board.
So how does it pull that off? Well, it wraps itself in this noble language. I mean, think about the great atrocities in history. They were almost always justified with powerful, positive words, just like these. The harm gets framed as a necessary step towards some shining future of freedom, or a crucial measure for our safety, or a righteous act of justice. And that just brilliantly shows how our own desire for good can be completely turned against itself.
But what if evil isn't just a mistake? What if it's more than just flawed logic? This brings us to a very different and much, much darker picture. The thinker Iain McGilchrist argues that seeing evil as just some kind of error, well, it doesn't quite capture the true horror of it. He suggests it's a real, active thing.
McGilchrist's description here is visceral. He says that when you look at true evil, it doesn't feel like a mistake. It feels like a force with its own momentum, its own drive, a force that actively wants to destroy, to hurt, and to degrade. It's not just the absence of good, it's an active, malevolent presence.
So the crucial question is, where does this force even come from? McGilchrist uses the story of Lucifer becoming Satan as a kind of parable for this. See, it didn't start with pure, obvious malice. It started with much more common human flaws, arrogance and resentment. And from there, he falls away from the good. And in that separation, evil takes on its own energy, becoming its own destructive thing.
So now we have these two starkly different views. Evil as a big mistake versus evil as a real force. But this is where it gets absolutely fascinating. Despite their differences, both theories land on one absolutely critical point about how evil actually operates in the world.
Check this out. Whether you believe evil is just goodness gone wrong or a destructive force of its own, both ideas agree on its strategy. Ryan Meeks says it comes in the guise of good. Iain McGilchrist says it always wears a mask of light. The common thread? It's deception. For evil to succeed, it has to pretend to be its opposite. It has to look like the very thing it seeks to destroy.
And that leaves us right back at the heart of the puzzle. Is evil an active, hungry force with its own energy? Or is it a tragic perversion of our own best intentions, a catastrophic failure of reason? Whichever one it is, it seems its greatest weapon is its ability to hide in plain sight, wearing the face of the good. So, what do you think?